like to acknowledge the arrival of the Secretary of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of the Philippines, the Honorable Chodoro Locsin Jr., and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Japan, Honorable Taro Kono. They are accompanied by the Philippine Ambassador to Japan, Jose Laurel V, and the Japanese Ambassador to the Philippines, Koji Haneda. I'd like to acknowledge the arrival of the Foreign Minister of Japan, the Honorable Taro Kono. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today we shall witness the signing ceremony for the exchange of notes between the Honorable Chodoro L. Locsin Jr., the Secretary of the Foreign Affairs of the Republic of the Philippines, and the Honorable Taro Kono, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Japan, on the exchange of notes on the Road Network Development Project in conflict-affected areas in Mindanao. We'd also like to acknowledge the presence of Secretary Carlos G. Dominguez II of the Department of Finance, Undersecretary Emil Sadain of the Department of Public Works and Highways, and representatives, and also the Assistant Secretary Bernardo L.B. Montealegre, the Office of Asia and Pacific Affairs of the Department of Foreign Affairs, and distinguished officials and staff from the Embassy of Japan, the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, and representatives from Philippine agencies. May we now request Secretary Locsin and Foreign Minister Kono to sign the exchange of notes on the Road Network Development Project in conflict-affected areas in Mindanao. The Road Network Development Project in conflict-affected areas in Mindanao will provide seamless connectivity covering 150 kilometers, including 40 bridges, with a project cost of 24 billion pesos scheduled in 2019 to 2025. Japan, through JICA, will provide a total loan provision of up to $202 million. The project will enhance transportation capacity and efficiency in conflict-affected areas in Mindanao through the construction and improvement of the access roads to arterial roads, which will improve logistics, stimulate economic activity, and strengthen access to the region. May we now request our ministers to exchange handshakes for the photo opportunity, please.
Last document, sir.
Again, we would like to request a handshake for our photo opportunity. At this point, we would like to ask our ministers to step back as we would do a quick change in Quick change of setup for our reading of press statements. Thank you very much, Secretary Dominguez and Ambassador Haneda. At this point, we will now have the reading of the press statements. We will now call on the Philippine Secretary of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Chodor L. Locsin Jr., to deliver his press statement.
Good morning. It is my honor and pleasure to welcome to the Philippines and to the lovely city of Davao His Excellency Taro Kono, Foreign Minister of Japan, and his delegation, as the Minister undertakes his first bilateral official visit to our country. Foreign Minister Kono's visit testifies to our long-standing friendship, and since 2011, our strategic partnership, one continually affirmed at the highest levels by our leaders. This strategic partnership is anchored in mutually beneficial cooperation founded on a shared adherence to universal values, including freedom, democracy, the rule of law, respect for basic human rights, and a free and open economy, as well as our shared aspiration for peace, stability, and prosperity for our larger region. Today, with our delegations, Minister Kono and I engaged in a candid and therefore productive discussion and exchange of views. We reaffirmed the strength of our strategic partnership, taking stock of progress in broad areas of fruitful cooperation. From there, we proceeded to examine our cooperation in defense, maritime security, infrastructure development, human resource development, health, disaster reduction and management, and people-to-people exchanges. In each case, reaching understandings and making commitments to specific undertakings. We focused on Mindanao and helping the region reap the dividends of a long-promised and much-delayed peace. We emerged from this morning's meeting freshly confident about prospects for realizing Mindanao's promise in the wake of positive, indeed striking developments in bringing Bangsamoro to reality. The inauguration of the Japanese Consulate General later this evening demonstrates Japan's enduring commitment to Mindanao, especially with the ratification of the Bangsamoro Organic Law. That the political exercise took place at all, and that all the parties concerned took part, it was in itself a victory. It substitutes the narrative of secession and war with a narrative of democracy and progress. Japan is at the forefront of the road to the realization of Mindanao's great promise. The road development project in conflicted areas in Mindanao, on which we exchanged notes, is an important step toward that goal by allowing communities long ravaged by conflict to heal, to live and work in safety, and enjoy the dividends of peace. On a broader level, we agreed to sustain and further strengthen economic cooperation. The story of Japan's engagement with the Philippines is about being at the pinnacle of key aspects of international interaction. Japan is the #1 source of ODA. She is our largest investor, the second biggest trading partner, and our fourth largest tourism market. I thank Minister Kono for reaffirming Japan's desire to maintain its eminent stature among Philippine partners in progress. Infrastructure cooperation figured prominently in our discussions. In the context of the President's infrastructure program, Japan's commitment, generosity, and technological know-how is ushering in an era of accelerated modernization. Nowhere is this more evident than in the upcoming groundbreaking of the Philippines' first subway, which President Duterte said heralds a new historic stage in Philippine transportation and urban development. Such projects set the pace and raise the bar for future collaboration. Both our governments have committed to continue this trajectory. Our economic cooperation is mutual. We recognize the space that exists for the Philippines to contribute to Japan's own ongoing economic revitalization. In this world of interconnected economies, Japanese participation in Philippine progress helps drive Japan's growth. Just as significantly, we reviewed our defense and security engagement and pledged to persist in our efforts to open new doors for cooperation in this field, in terms of equipment, education and training, and other modalities. Japan will stay our steady partner in strengthening our defense capabilities as we modernize our armed forces and bolster maritime security in the region. This particular area of cooperation does not exist in a vacuum. It takes place in the context and under the intense pressures of the larger regional security situation. We both recognize that the regional security environment is fraught with challenges, including in the West Philippine Sea and the Korean Peninsula. As maritime countries with unique similarities, as neighbors whose sea lanes of communication may be similarly affected by recent developments, we recognize the imperative of further bilateral cooperation. At the same time, we acknowledge that keeping and promoting the region's peace and stability is a collective responsibility, one that must be underpinned by mutual trust, sincere dialogue, and functional cooperation. The two of us come from a productive meeting this morning with a single mind, that our two countries must sustain the effort to keep and to grow the gains of our strategic partnership, building on past achievements and seizing opportunities offered by the future. This partnership will flourish and endure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary Locsin. We will now call on the Foreign Minister of Japan, the Honorable Taro Kono, to deliver his statement.
Thank you. Good morning. Today I had my first meeting with Secretary Locsin. Let me first express my sincere gratitude for the heartfelt welcome Secretary Locsin extended to me. I am confident that ties between our people will be bolstered by the opening of the Consulate General in Davao, which is President Duterte's hometown and has a special historic connection with Japan. Japan welcomes the ratification of Bangsamoro Organic Law by the plebiscite in January. Japan has been consistent supporter of the Mindanao peace process for more than 10 years. Secretary Locsin and I signed exchange of notes for the $200 million loan. Through this, Japan will contribute to developing a road network that supports the foundation of people's lives in Mindanao by improving access to schools and hospitals and by revitalizing economic activities in the region. In addition, Japan will support the Philippines' efforts to ensure peace and stability in the region. For example, Japan plans to assist job creation and livelihood improvement for the locals, including former MILF combatants. The Mindanao peace process will be at a critical juncture when the Bangsamoro Transitional Authority is established. Capacity building of this transitional authority and smooth implementation of decommissioning and disarmament of former MILF combatants is crucial. Japan is ready to expand our support as the peace process progresses. Our bilateral security cooperation is advancing well, including the transfer of defense equipment and conducting of joint exercises. Today we share the view that we resume Japan-Philippines political military dialogue and the maritime dialogue at an early date this year. It is a common goal for the entire region to realize a free and open Indo-Pacific based on the rule of law. Japan has been advancing cooperation in the field of capacity building for maritime security with the Philippines. We have shared the view that Japan and the Philippines will continue cooperation and strongly oppose any attempt to unilaterally change the status quo. On North Korea, I emphasize the necessity of its complete, verifiable, and irreversible dismantlement of all weapons of mass destruction and ballistic missiles of all ranges, as well as full implementation of UN Security Council resolutions. I have also asked for understanding and cooperation towards immediate resolution of the abduction issue. Secretary Locsin kindly offered his support. I would be most grateful if our first meeting could contribute to reinforcing the cooperative relationship between Japan and the Philippines. I will keep devoting myself to enhancing this bilateral relationship. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Foreign Minister Kono. At this point, this actually concludes our event. We would like to thank our friends from the media who has joined us today. Daghang salamat, and thank you very much. A good day to all.